Hi everyone, and welcome to the Matty Highland Smitty McQueen Sports Show on Monday, November 14th with your host, Matty Highland
Smitty McQueen.
We have a full show on tap for today. Now let's get started. But first, actually, I got to congratulate the Fort Hays State women's soccer team on advancing to the Sweet 16.
No doubt. Congrats,
national
ladies.
tournament.
Congrats, ladies.
That's very good.
Huge
very
shootout win.
Now they come home, and we'll see how they go. Friday, we've got men's soccer on tap for the regional tournament.
Yeah.
So.
And then also this past weekend, congrats to the football boys taking care of the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. Also, the men's basketball team, they went up to Sioux Falls and went 1-1 on the weekend. And then also women's basketball, they completed a 2-0 sweep this past weekend. Matt, whew, what a weekend of football.
Very good weekend. Not good, but just being a sports fan, you gotta love it. Yes.
Not just college football. Saturday was ridiculous. I was out hunting. I didn't see much until I got home, and wow,
yeah,
I was shocked. I even fell asleep during the games. I was so tired, but I woke up in the middle of the night, saw the final upsets, and I was just like, "You're kidding." NFL, we'll talk about that, but college football, Matt. Who wants to be those four teams in the college football playoff? Who wants to go play for a national championship?
I guess only Bama.
I would.
What just happened?
I would agree. I mean, down goes number 2, Clemson. Down goes number 3, Michigan. Number 4, Washington goes down. It's ridiculous.
Nobody wants to play, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh goes into Death Valley, win 43-42 on a game-winning field goal.
I watched it, and it was, I was tweeting my heart out.
Yeah, we were
after that game. I was like, "Why Clemson just lost?"
Yeah, we were talking back and forth to each other in text messages.
Oh yeah.
Who's gonna be? What are the rankings gonna be?
And that was just Clemson, and then later on that night, the Wolverines lost too. Sorry, Eric Harrington, but when you go into Iowa and redecorate the pink locker room that Jim Harbaugh has a problem with, and then you lose the game on a 33-yard field goal, it's kind of embarrassing. And then you have your Huskies, Washington Huskies, number 4. They faltered at home to the number 20 ranked USC Trojans, 26-13. When you get doubled up at home to a USC team that doesn't have a quarterback like Matt Leinart back in the day or Reggie Bush, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they've been down. They've been down a ton. USC haven't lived up to their hype. I've always thought they were overrated. I didn't even give them credit. Clemson, the big thing in that was their first loss to an unranked opponent in a 5-season span of 46 games. That is a long streak that came to an end this past Saturday. Clemson, do you think they can still make it or be in the playoff picture?
No.
You don't?
I'm flat out calling it no.
Really?
Of those 3 teams that lost Saturday, the only one that could possibly make up, and if they win out, is Michigan. I've been watching a lot of SportsCenter today about picks and whatnot of the forecast in the future. Michigan's the only one in my opinion.
I'm not so sure about that. I think if any team, I think it is still Clemson because they do have a win over Louisville. Also, Clemson was runner-up last year to Bama, and they gave them a great fight. I'm excited to see what the College Football Playoff Committee does this weekend because this is awesome. It's remarkable. I don't think we're going to finally see what the college football playoff rankings are going to look at. Now, I think the surprise team, and we'll get into that. I've got a surprise team that is going to be number 4 in this week's college football playoff. But let's talk about our picks first.
Our picks this weekend. Both of us went 2-2 of our 4 games.
That's pretty weak.
Yeah, it is. On the season, Brandon, Smitty McQueen, you're 6-3, and I'm 5-4. For one, Iowa State got the win over KU in the
Toilet bowl,
toilet
Big
bowl,
12.
the Big 12. I hate to say that as a KU fan, but it's true. One key thing from that, they tried some trickery, and everybody's seen it. And Laquiviante Gonzalez was laying down in the end zone on a kickoff return, and if it would have worked out better, I mean, he got some yards, and they were kind of fooled. I mean, he did blend in with the blue on blue uniforms, but if he would have got a touchdown out of it, I would have been very impressed.
Yeah, come on. If you're gonna pull that, you've got to score. I wish you would have went like another 5 yards.
Yeah,
farther
get
upfield, and then do it. But yeah, if you're gonna try it, you've got to pull it off better than that. It was an awesome attempt, though. I give them credit. They were trying everything they can do to win a game.
Yes.
We're gonna see more trickery, I think, when they go to Manhattan to play the Kansas State Wildcats. Do they get a Big 12 win, Matt, this year? They got Texas this weekend and Lincoln. We'll talk about that Friday. Or at Lincoln Memorial, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, I know what you're picking up what you're dropping down.
Yeah.
I don't think so. And I'm an avid KU fan.
I'd have to agree.
I'm sorry for the KU football team, but my opinion doesn't control their destiny. I don't think they do. Texas is strong this year.
They got to win.
With Charlie Strong. And K-State looks good. I hate to say it, I really do. But K-State's defense is really good.
Yeah, they really are.
I don't think K-State's offense, with 3 different quarterbacks this year, they've had some trouble. Carter Stanley's the future, but he's just not ready.
Yeah, I agree. I think KU, and we got picks. We'll have their picks, because they're your team. We'll have those picks on Friday, obviously, on Football Friday. Talking about Texas, West Virginia holds on in Austin, 24-20. I got that right. You got that right.
Big win,
It's a big win. So they can stay atop the Big 12 conference. This is another upset. I mean, what wasn't an upset this weekend, pretty much? Number 9, Auburn. They take care of Georgia. They get taken care of Georgia, sorry. Their playoff chances are thrown out the window by far now. There's no way they can do that. They lost in the dog pound. That's a tough loss.
Yes.
Yeah. We both got that
wrong. We
wrong.
both picked that wrong. I'm sorry to our friend Seth Kincaid. He's a big-time Auburn fan, both football and basketball. Georgia just went in there and just played them. They outplayed them, and it was a defensive battle, 13-7. It really helped.
Yeah.
Auburn's chances are, you're right, they're gone because of the 8 teams in front of them.
Yeah.
Or, according to last week's standings, 8 teams in front of them. We'll see how the shakeup happens tomorrow night, but I don't see them in the top 10.
I don't either.
Losing to an unranked team like Georgia.
You're going to see those teams that were looking on the outside of the top 10. I think you're going to see some of those teams fall in, and that'll be huge. And Auburn's out. Bama now, number 1. We've already talked about them. They make a statement again.
Yes.
They weren't going to make sure Mississippi State pulled off another upset. They won 51-3. You thought it was going to be close. I knew right out of the gate, Bama's not messing around. And it showed huge on Saturday. Matt, we've got a lot of people talking about our college football ranking playoffs on Facebook. Now's the time we've got that in our schedule. Right now, Matt, we're going to drop ours. We'll talk more about this on Wednesday once the rankings come out. Matt, who do you have in your top 4?
Well, for now, I have Bama at 1. And just like it's a consensus top pick.
Obviously.
Everybody else. I've got Ohio State sneaking in to the number 2 into the top 4 because of their quality wins back-to-back weeks. They just have showed that they can play with steamroll the competition in the Big Ten.
Yep.
I got Louisville with the Heisman candidate at the quarterback helm. They're playing really good. Lamar Jackson, really, 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 really good. I can't stress that enough to all of our followers. And then I've got a surprise team. I saw your picks earlier. I'm kind of torn between Michigan staying in the top 4 and then Wisconsin. I honestly don't think 2 teams in the same conference will get into the playoff, but if it is, it's the Big Ten.
Oh, by
because
far.
Wisconsin has played their way up after everybody else losing and some other teams shuffling around. They're solid at all 3 phases of the game. They're number 4.
Michigan or Wisconsin?
I'm going with Wisconsin. It was a toss-up earlier this morning.
Yeah, it's crazy because we got the exact same rankings. I think Clemson's 5, even though they're not going to fall much. Then I got Michigan, and then Washington, maybe, not sure. I think a team you got to watch out for, and it's sad because the Big 12 is not that good. This year, which I hate to say it, I'm a huge K-State fan, you're a KU fan, we're Big 12. We root for the Big 12. But I think Oklahoma is a team that you cannot count out yet this year.
Oh, I know.
Their loss to Houston was big, but they did lose to Ohio State. And Ohio State's up there. That wasn't
possibly number 2 in the country.
Yeah. Ohio State. I think Ohio State is by far easily number 2.
Yeah. If the only thing is, if the Big 12 had a championship game, they would get looked at more and considered for the playoff more so than what they are now.
Yeah.
Even though we know that they are playing some excellent football.
I've said all along, Oklahoma will be in contention in the end, but I think the loss against Houston is going to be a huge key factor in the playoff committee, when they give their final 4 picks. If Louisville is to lose to Houston later on, then maybe those Houston losses to Louisville and Oklahoma, that might boost Oklahoma up since Houston got another top-ranked team. So I'm not real sold yet on Oklahoma. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They got to win out first off. That's the most important thing. They've got to win out. If they do not win out, then their chances at the national championship college football, Final 4, they're gone. Bob Stoops, he's got to prove himself. Big game, Bob. Can he do it?
That is true. The
Pac-12 is down. I'm just not sure if Washington can get back up there. They maybe can. I'm not sold on the Pac-12 right now. Colorado, you got to watch out for.
Speaking of the Pac-12, Colorado, with our good friend Brent Kaiser, he loves Colorado apparently, according to our comments here.
We got a good comment.
Us knowing him.
I like it.
I like Colorado. I mean, KU fan. I hate Colorado, but they're in the Pac-12 now, so it's different. They have played really, really good so far this season.
Yeah.
And they're right in contention. Because of Oregon and Stanford slumping this year just a bit, the Pac-12 is getting overlooked. That was something on SportsCenter this morning that I was watching. They just can't do that. And with Colorado playing so well and Washington just now got beat, could we see a shift?
You could. I mean, Colorado, you look at their schedule, they do have 3 straight. If things stay the way they are now and the teams that they have remaining on their schedule, if they win out, they will have played 2 ranked teams, and then they will go into the Pac-12 championship and play Washington, who's a ranked team. So that's 3 straight ranked teams if they could beat.
Yeah.
So you do got to give them credit. I know Brent's also commenting about that.
Their 2 losses this year are to 2 unranked teams. So it doesn't look terrible.
Yeah. It's hard to.
Yes.
It's hard to know. I mean, we will talk Wednesday on our thoughts of the playoff committee. Sorry, their top 4. See if they match up. I do like Darren Feller's been talking a ton about this. Wisconsin, he thinks, is going to be 4. We both agree.
Yes.
I think Wisconsin's going to be up there on Wisconsin. You cannot forget about them.
That is true.
So, we'll look ahead to that on Wednesday. We'll put this to rest. We'll have more. Trevor, he's asking if Colorado's non-conference will play a factor. It might. We'll talk more about that once we see these rankings come out on Tuesday night on the Wednesday show. So make sure you tune in to us on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll debate more about college football. Love your guys' comments today. These are awesome, and it's only going to get better because, Matt, we go down now to the NFL. Whew, what a game. What great games we had this weekend. You had some where teams came back
There
again.
was plenty of them. I can tell you that.
You have a rematch that comes down to the 1-yard line again.
Then you have a Super Bowl rematch that
Yeah.
was decided within 5
By the
points.
by the 1 yard, yeah.
Yep.
So this is a huge weekend in the NFL, a great weekend. Ratings, I think, are going back up. So those that are complaining about the rankings, the TV ratings, just take a chill pill because the NFL was pretty crazy this weekend. It was whack. We'll put it at that. Matt, Redskins. Well, I guess first our picks. I went 5-1 this week. Just blew it away.
Wow.
So hey, you guys might want to follow along with me, in NFL. I'm doing pretty good in both my pick'em leagues. So, you went 2-4. Rough one. Our season standings, though, I'm 7-4. You're 5-6. Whew. Redskins, though. Let's just begin with them. They had the Vikings, who started 5-0. Their 4th straight loss on Sunday, 26-20. You had the Vikings 24-21. You thought they would break that streak? Nah. NFC East, they're a decent division this year. We're going to talk divisions also on Wednesday. But Redskins, man, they handed it to them.
I can't side with the Vikings anymore.
Really?
They're like the Browns
Woo!
right now. They're pathetic.
I'll
I'll say that. I don't care. When you start 5-0, you have some, everything's working for you. And then you lose a game, that's fine. But then when you lose 4 straight, right after you win 5 straight, I don't see you ever coming back from that in this division. Because the Packers are kind of struggling too. We'll get on that later. But the Vikings are not the favorite in the NFC North. I am saying it right now. The Detroit Lions. You can quote me on that. And Eric Harrington is correct. He's been saying it all year. His whole life. The Detroit Lions look as the most complete team in this division. The Bears are struggling. The Packers are struggling. The Vikings have lost 4 straight. That leaves the Lions.
Yeah.
They've won, and they're moving up.
And I agree with the team right now in the North, and we'll talk more about, like we said, divisions on Wednesday in the Wednesday edition. But, or actually, I think I said Wednesday. We're going to talk about that actually tomorrow. We're to have that, but I think the Lions are the team to beat in the North. It is a weak division this year. A very weak division. Look at the Bears. They're struggling.
Oh.
Sorry, Pops. Detroit, they go on runs. They'll be a great team, and then the next week they'll fall to a team that's mediocre. And it's like you've got to be consistent in the NFL. And I think the Lions are, but every time I jump on the Lions, it seems like they lose a key game.
Maybe it's you.
Maybe
it's
So I am jumping on the Lions. I guess we'll find out, after this next coming weekend. But yes, the Vikings, they are struggling big time.
Yes.
They're not getting the offense they need. Yes, they got a lot of key injuries. We know they need AP back ASAP. And
I agree.
I don't know when he's going to be back.
Jared McKinnon's not holding up
No.
to what we thought what he was in that 5-game winning streak. he's faltered a little bit, and it's hurting them.
Yeah.
Sam Bradford can't do it himself, and that's where he's throwing interceptions.
Yeah.
And one of the top defenses in the country,
They're on the field half the time.
they're getting too tired and
Yeah.
too drained, and it doesn't help when your offense goes 3 and out every single drive.
I agree.
So that's all I got to say on the Vikings.
And we're going to keep it.
Go Redskins. They deserve that win.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins now has a new celebration after the game. You know, last year, how do you like that? How do you like that? You know, now it's, yeah, okay. Kirk Cousins, you're getting out of hand, man. We're going to keep it in the NFC North. And how about Marcus Mariota?
Oof.
Marcus Mariota, huge Oregon fan.
Packers.
Everyone knows that, I think. They are the
showed.
biggest disappointment this year in college. I'm sorry to say that. It's hard to say that. Titans, though, they just throttle Green Bay, 47-25. This is their 5th win this year, while matching 5 victories over their last 2 seasons combined. Are the Titans for real, or are the Packers just that bad now, losing 3 straight games?
Both. You are correct on both fronts. The Titans, even though they are 5-5, they have the weapons on offense, and they are utilizing them to their advantage. They've got, 2 Heisman winners now on that team? Former Heisman winners with Mariota and Derrick Henry.
Yep.
And then you have DeMarco Murray, who led the league in rushing yards 2
With
years
the
ago.
boys.
And now he's revived, and he's coming back. And they've got Delaney Walker on
Delaney
offense
Walker.
as well.
And their defense is
And
not
their wide
terrible.
receivers, Tajay Sharp and Rashard Matthews and all these guys, they're young, they're coming up. This offense is very, very good. Be looking for them in the next few weeks. Not against my Chiefs, but that'll be a very, very, very good game. I can't stress that enough. It'll be a tough game for both teams if they can keep continuing on their trend. We will see how it plays out.
I totally agree.
On the Packers now, they're not good. That defense is banged up more than people think. Clay Matthews hasn't played in a while. Rodgers is doing all he can. And today, when I was watching SportsCenter, Donovan McNabb was one of the guests on there, and he said that quarterbacks have so much pressure on them to score, let alone if they're deep, like if they don't score and they have to go on the sideline and they're fearful that their defense is going to give up points, and that happened.
Yeah.
37 points yesterday.
It did. It did.
Is it the coach's fault? Is it the defensive coordinator's fault? Is it Rodgers' fault for not scoring, even though he has no running backs?
The biggest thing I see with the Packers, their defense is horrible. Don Capers, their D coordinator, I don't know what he is doing. Yes, they've had some injuries. They've had some injuries, but still, you've got to fight through it. And Kevin Randa, I love the comment. I totally agree. Aaron Rodgers, does he need to come out and say, relax? I think he's fine. I think Rodgers is fine. You know, there's a lot of talk. Is he putting the blame on himself? You know, I think the Packers are missing their deep threat. You know, Jordy Nelson is still recovering from an injury. Randall Cobb and Adams, they've both been banged up. The other big thing on the Packers side for them is their running back. They do not, James Starks, he's finally getting healthy, but James Starks is not a number 1 running back. Packers should have went out and got a running back before the trade deadline.
They did. Niall Davis.
Or Niall Davis, yeah,
It
they did.
pan out, though.
They did.
He's back with the Chiefs.
They did. They really did. But, you know, they've got to get a running game established so Rodgers can take the deep ball and try. That's where they could throw the deep ball. Plus, they have the speed on the outside. They don't have that this year.
Yeah.
And so, I think more of it is Don Capers and the defense's fault.
They've given up 31.7 points per game their last 4 games. Surprisingly, actually not surprisingly, all losses.
Yeah.
That does not help whatsoever.
Yeah.
31 points a game.
Yeah.
Sorry, you should be fired for that.
Yeah, and a lot of people are Mike McCarthy, is he on the hot seat?
Yes.
Yes, I think he is finally. I really do. We've seen that earlier. Like McCarthy's been on the hot seat, but you know, he comes through and he gets them to the postseason. I still think the Packers could win the NFC North.
Ooh.
I really do. I think they can. They've got to help. They got to get a big win this weekend
In Washington.
Yep.
That'll be a Sunday night, actually. That'll
Yeah.
be a very good game.
And then they got the Eagles. And the NFC East is no joke this year.
No.
So, you know, Texans, they're up and down.
I
Seahawks,
got the Seahawks.
we're going to talk about them in a
Yeah.
bit. They made a huge
Yeah.
statement last night.
They ended the year on 3 straight division games.
Yeah.
Wow, what a finish for the season.
See, so they're not done.
No.
If they win those 3 games, I think it's the Bears and then the Vikings, I think, and then the Lions they finish with. They win those 3, Packers, I think, win the division. So they need to at least go 2-2 the next 4 games. And if they do that,
if they don't make the playoffs, Mike McCarthy is gone.
oh, I agree. I think it's playoffs.
They've
or
set that
McCarthy's
standard the
done.
last 6 years with Rodgers and the Super Bowl victory. It's nowhere to be found anymore.
You know, and another thing, Packer fans are going to laugh at this. I think you guys will too. There's a lot of blame on Rodgers. You know, it's his fault. Well, maybe if he didn't make so many State Farm commercials in the off season, then maybe he would be focused. But you know what? You got to focus on the game. Quit making commercials for State Farm. Discount double check. Anyway, man.
Let's move on
Yes.
to the next game this past weekend. The Chiefs. Whoa. Another huge fourth quarter victory, comeback victory against the defending runner-up last year in Carolina Panthers. They pulled it out. I had the Chiefs, previously picked them. So did you, and we both got it. Scores were not the same, but that don't matter.
No.
Are the last season's NFC champions in trouble?
Yeah, they've been
3-6.
They've been in trouble. This week really put a damper on their run. I think to get back in the postseason. I think the Chiefs wiped them off the playoff picture now.
I think the Bucks come out on top in that division now.
No.
Falcons are not.
Atlanta
what everyone thinks
Atlanta Falcons will take care of the division. I'm sold on them. I mean,
they faltered last
they
year.
did.
And the year before.
They lost yesterday, but you know what? It was the Eagles. NFC East is not a bad division. We're going to talk about the divisions tomorrow, like I've said before.
Wednesday, yes.
But you've got to pay attention to those matchups. And Philly's undefeated at home. We're going to talk more about that. What was your thought on your Chiefs getting a huge win in Carolina?
Game ball goes to Eric Berry for his interception, pick 6 actually. That was clutch in the fourth quarter. But even more clutch than that, Marcus Peters literally took the game from them. He took the ball away from the
Here's a
receiver.
Christmas present.
He took the ball away from the receiver as he was still not on the ground, and he took it, got it. Yes, that's cool. Then he made another bonehead mistake, and he said that he's auditioning for the backup punter role and kicked it into the stands. Second game now in a row. And I don't like that. It's a bonehead mistake, but he will not do it again. He said he won't do it again, and the coaches won't let him do it again. But aside from that, the offense was struggling a little bit, but Spencer Ware was back finally after the concussion. He was running the ball hard. Tyreek Hill had a career high with 10 catches. That's quality. That's what you want to see in a guy who's getting more and more looks on offense because of other injuries. The defense came through. D Ford had another sack, 10 sacks on the year. Chris Jones had a sack. My favorite player on the Chiefs squad, aside from Jamal Charles who's hurt. The Chiefs keep finding ways to win. They're now 2-1 this year when trailing by 17 or more points. The rest of the league is terrible. They're like 2-4 50 some.
Yeah.
And Alex Smith, back on the offense, Alex Smith had the worst game of his career. No touchdowns.
No touchdown. I guess I did. Like I said, I have not got to see much NFL in the
One
early
interception when he
afternoon
underthrew
game.
Tyreek Hill. I don't know if it's still affecting him, the concussion that he got a few weeks ago, the more of the equilibrium imbalance in him after cutting his ear, which kind of sucks. But I don't know. I think he'll bounce back, especially with now this game for the Broncos in 2 weeks getting flexed to the Sunday night spot.
It
They've
did.
got 3 primetime games this year. The rest of the year, that helps.
That's
Get the
that's
spotlight, everybody
huge.
getting looked at. The Chiefs will be fine. The Panthers are terrible. I hate Cam Newton. And then when Chris,
I'm not
when-
a Cam
when-
fan either.
And Cam Newton dabbed when he did score on that 4-yard run. He's a tough guy. But then Chris Jones, when he sacked him, he also dabbed. Back at him.
That's good. That's good.
LOL. That's enough on the Chiefs. They keep winning. We'll see them win in the future. Now we go to the Eagles and the Falcons matchup. The Eagles silenced Matt Ryan, who's an MVP candidate still, but after yesterday,
He's not my favorite anymore.
He's not the favorite. We'll get to the favorites later because I know who you're going to say.
You
Your
already
boys.
know.
But
You already know.
Julio Jones did not do much.
He had over 100 yards receiving, but they held
expected
him.
with him.
Yeah, they didn't let him go off for 200. You know, and 3 touchdowns. Eagles are tough at home. They're undefeated at home. I think the Eagles might make the playoffs. I really do. A lot of people. I was watching Colin Cowherd today on the Herd, and it was hilarious because his playoff, like his final NFC rankings, he had the Eagles near the bottom, and he said, "Wow, they might just make the playoffs." I think the Eagles will make the playoffs.
I can't argue.
They've got to continue to win at home, and if they do that, then yes,
They go, hey, at home.
yeah,
That helps a great deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Eagles not sold on it, like not bought into them making the playoffs, not sold on them missing the playoffs, just kind of neutral right now. But Falcons, by far, I think will win the NFC South. The only team I think could catch them is the Saints. And they took one of probably the most bizarre ways to lose a game yesterday, as the Broncos blocked the PAT and they took it to the house. Will Parks takes it to the house. What? I've never seen that. I come home and my dad says, "Did you just see how the Broncos won?" No. Didn't hear about it. Blocked PAT to win a game. When are we going to see that again?
Never.
Probably
maybe
never.
if the Chiefs block one of Denver's in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Denver.
They find ways
they
to win.
snuck out of New Orleans with that win.
And that's a huge win. That's a tough place to play.
That's super dumb.
And the Broncos, I know Chief fans are listening, you're a Chief fan, they find ways to win.
So did the Chiefs.
And
they really do.
They have,
The
yes.
AFC West is stacked. Well, like we said, we'll talk more on that division race later. But the Broncos, they don't have a solid quarterback yet, and they're still that
No.
defense is stout.
And they're banged up.
Yes.
Talib's out. Denver got Demaryius Thomas going yesterday. That was a key. Some of those catches he had, one-handed.
Whoa.
Yeah. Demaryius Thomas is going to be a key part for their offense if they want to make it far this year into the playoffs. I think the Broncos make the playoffs. You know, there's a bunch of controversy. Did Parks step out of bounds? He was wearing white shoes. What a great way for him. He sneaks one out. Thanks for wearing white shoes yesterday. You know, if they were blue, he probably steps out of bounds.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
and the NFL has been doing better with the replay system this year, saying it's got to be fully conclusive if we're going to overturn it.
Yeah,
And they did not see.
MLB.
Yeah, And so, you know, it was like the Seahawks game last night on a play down at the goal line. It looked like he was in the end zone, but they didn't have conclusive evidence.
Yes. Well, enough with them, because we're going to move on, get a drink, because your boys...
How about them boys?
They came out with a great win last night against a Pittsburgh team who was trying to find themselves, their identity. They win their 8th straight game for the first time since 1977. And a big, wild, huge, everything, extravagant finish. 35-30 victory over Pittsburgh. Despite a huge performance by Big Ben. They had 7 lead changes in the game.
Yeah.
Does Mike Tomlin need to take blame after a loss for going for 2 points after every touchdown? I don't think so, because they don't have a reliable kicker.
Yeah.
He's been banged up, which is not good. But so what? Go find a better kicker.
Yeah.
It's time for a new kicker. Squeeze him. See ya. I don't like the Steelers.
I think he needs to take a little blame, maybe. But no, I like Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's a great coach. I'm sure he's going to be on the hot seat because they've lost 4 straight now. But they've been banged up. Steelers are a good team. If they make the playoffs, watch out. This is a team I really think, yes, their defense is pretty bad. But if you get that offense going, we've seen it before. You've seen it personally with your team. Steelers can be dangerous on offense. The defense, that's where they're going to determine their season.
Yes.
I think the Steelers win their division. I think they will take care of Baltimore. Still got 2 matchups with the Browns. Those are, yes, they're not guaranteed,
almost give me
you'd like to expect they're not going to lose those games,
Yeah.
faltered, unless the Browns somehow get it together in the next few weeks.
Enough about the Steelers. How about your boys?
First time they've had an 8-game win streak since 1977.
Yes.
Also news from 1977 was the first time until yesterday a Dallas Cowboys running back, a rookie Dallas Cowboys running back, passed 1,000 yards in his first year, and that was Tony Dorsett. Zeke did it yesterday. What else? The kid's unstoppable.
MVP?
Definitely.
Rookie of the year?
He is definitely my favorite in the MVP right
The
now.
rushing
He
title?
is by far. What he did yesterday was ridiculous. When the Cowboys needed him, he answered.
83 yards swing pass for a touchdown. That's impressive.
Yeah. And then you've got to also give the Dallas Cowboys offensive line credit. You don't see MVPs coming from the offensive line.
That's where I give my MVP, because if you don't have a good running back, I mean, great running back without a solid offensive line.
Yeah.
And all these offensive linemen that we know personally and that I know from my uncle being one, they don't get enough credit. And
Yeah.
that Cowboys offensive line, they know what Jerry Jones knows what he's doing with that.
Yeah.
Getting those guys. That
Yeah.
helps a lot.
It was, yeah, it really was. Zeke on the day, 3 total touchdowns, 209 yards. I mean, those are MVP numbers.
Yes.
And as a rookie, 2 rookies are leading these Cowboys right now. Dak Prescott, who Jerry Jones came out right after the game and announced Tony Romo's going to be active next week. When I heard active, I was like, oh, geez, here we go again. Jerry, you're going to ruin it.
As the backup QB.
But he's now the backup QB.
Yes.
So, and I think that's great, because at some point, I think the Cowboys will need Tony Romo, maybe. Maybe. I hope not, because Dak is amazing. Dak Prescott is so relaxed back there. This might be one of the best drafts ever that we've seen 2 standout rookies come up huge in their first season.
Just step up.
Stepped
They
right into
contribute.
the reins. Yeah.
They control it, and they don't stop.
Yeah. And Cowboys next week get the Ravens. Then they play the Washington Redskins on Thanksgiving. You know, Cowboys they got the best record right now in the NFL. And going into the season, I would have said no.
8-8 maybe.
Yeah, you know, typical 8-8 year.
They've already got those 8 wins.
Yeah. So let's hope if we get one more win, we will not be 500. So I will be thankful.
For the first time in a while.
Yeah. But man, the Cowboys, huge win yesterday on the road. They have, yes, everyone says the Steelers are trash, the defense is trash. They haven't played anyone with a good record. I don't care about that stuff. These are 2 rookies going into 2 tough venues. They went into Lambeau Field, took care of the Packers. Went into now Pittsburgh, took care of the Steelers.
Yes.
As rookies and doing that, that's remarkable. Emmitt Smith had a funny tweet because I was getting a little upset. They missed a couple of calls late in that game. However, Emmitt Smith says it was easy, or he said it's not. Our rookies still find ways to win 12 against 11, meaning the officials were on the Steelers side. I thought it was funny. A former player, what's he gonna do? Get suspended or fine some money, for voicing his opinion? But no, I think the Cowboys. I think they might be
for real
the favorites in the NFC. I'm not. It's hard to say that because I don't want to do anything about
to be biased.
Yeah.
To try to.
But I think they really are. The other team though won last night, and we're gonna go right into them.
Yes.
I think the other team that is right up there with the boys is the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
Defense holds the Patriots in the rematch from Super Bowl 49, and it ended on the 1-yard line.
They did to the Patriots what the Patriots did to them, and they're loving it because they gave the Patriots their second loss in the year.
Yes.
The last 2 meetings they've held, both defenses have held them on the 1-yard line, which is whoa.
Yeah.
Especially with the running backs that both teams have. Does this make the Super Bowl loss any easier for them?
No. I mean, you're just not going to hear about it maybe as much, but it still doesn't help. It hurts them still, I think. But that was a big win for them, being in Foxborough.
Definitely.
And now New England has lost 2 straight, or not 2 straight, but 2 games at home for the first time since 2012.
That is a big fact because the Patriots have dominated this AFC.
Yeah, they have.
Except for last year,
And
the Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think that's where whoever wins home field in the AFC is got to be the clear favorite. Because you've seen that over the years. Look at Denver last year. Look at the Patriots the year before. They had home field. Home field is huge in the AFC.
Now you've got 2 undefeated teams at home this year who aren't the Broncos or the Patriots, but they're the Texans and the Chiefs. And watch out, because you better be equipped for this wild ride in this AFC the rest of the year.
Agreed.
Well, actually, NFC too, because football is great again. The ratings are going back up. I don't care what anybody says.
After yesterday's performance, they've got to be.
The matchups are excellent. I love it.
You know, Pete Carroll almost cost his team, though, I think, in that game. They were up 7, and instead of kicking the PAT to go up 8, he decides to go for 2.
Sometimes you got to take those chances. I mean, the Steelers do the same thing, but not every time. Not in those situations. When you're up 7, don't go for 2.
Yeah.
You're already up
on the road in Foxborough against Tom Brady.
One of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
If not the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then,
definitely the best franchise in the last few years.
Yes.
Tom Brady threw his first pick, and that was also the Patriots' first interception of the year. Tom Brady's still okay, people. He's not going to go the whole season. without throwing a pick. He threw one. He's human too. So, I think Patriots are still all right. Don't get off on them and don't worry about them.
Yes. Aside from them, the Patriots they lose.
Yeah.
Tied for the AFC lead with the Raiders and Chiefs. Now we move on to tonight's matchup between the Bengals and the Giants. The Bengals are 1-point favorites, and I've got the Bengals losing to the Giants 24-12. The Bengals getting 4 field goals. That is. Who do you have?
I've got the Bengals. I think the Bengals are too much for the Giants. I think the Giants are starting to go in the right direction, but I think the Bengals, they need to get it going.
Yes.
And so
especially if the Steelers keep,
yeah,
even though they lost yesterday, especially if the Steelers keep getting wins, or the Ravens keep getting wins, that division race, aside from the Browns, might be close if the Bengals can finish out strong.
Matt, who do you think? I mean, do you think it's going to be a close game? What's your score?
24-12.
Okay.
They double them up. The Giants do.
I've got
Giants
Bengals
looking good.
24-17.
Beckham's good. The only thing about this matchup that could hinder the Giants' victory is Victor Cruz is out.
Yeah, he is out.
That
I
ankle
did see
injury is
that.
hurting him.
I did see that.
That's some good news today.
We will go to college basketball. Look at college basketball. Thoughts on the past weekend?
We had Arizona, who has a former Hutchinson Community College player, Kadeem Allen, went coast to coast on a layup in the final seconds. That was enough to beat number 12 Michigan State by 2.
What a way to start off college basketball.
That's good. And then the KU Indiana matchup, I was sad.
Yeah.
But Indiana is actually better than number 11. They're number 6 now in the new poll.
The
KU will get it figured out. I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, the top 25 polls were just released earlier this afternoon. Duke won, Duke won, Kentucky 2, Villanova 3, Oregon 4, and UNC 5.
With Indiana 6 and KU 7 trailing them.
I mean, there's not much.
Besides
KU
matchup.
losing, that was the only
shake up.
Yeah.
We've got a good matchup tomorrow that we'll talk about more with Duke and KU, the Champions Classic.
Yeah, and Michigan State and Kentucky.
Yes.
So make sure you don't miss that. KU's getting tested right out of the get-go. And 2 ranked teams in their first.
Tested, yeah.
So, NBA, we had a couple games last night. Serge Ibaka, former Thunder player, goes back to OKC and stuns his former team in his first matchup since the trade, hitting a game winner. Career high 31 points, 9 rebounds. Magic for real with Ibaka?
Kind of.
Really?
Just because they beat the Thunder doesn't mean that they're world champs. Just
Yeah.
because they beat his former team. Westbrook also had a big game with another triple-double. 41 points, 12 rebounds, 16 assists. He's doing all he can, and he's still going to come out on top. You might see them struggling a bit more. Sorry, Brent, but they will. If he keeps putting those numbers up and they can't win, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But you need Kevin Durant's loss is a lot bigger than. It's everyone planned it. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Stuff happens. Think people move on, just like us. The Timberwolves, they took care of the Lakers last night, 125-99. Thanks to Andrew Wiggins, a former Jayhawks, his career night. He had 47 points on 14 of 21 shooting, and I believe he had 16 free throws made. That's quality. That's really good. And Karl Anthony Towns also added 22 points and 12 boards.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Real quick, Matt, before we go back to go to our breaking news today. Earlier this morning, there was reports Klay Thompson of the Golden State Warriors might be traded this season to the Boston Celtics. I don't know about that. I need to research some more.
We might have some more on that.
Sounds like, tomorrow, our NBA Wednesday, we're going to do our NBA show on Wednesday. NFL, there's so much to talk about. So we're going to host our NBA rankings and stuff on Wednesday, dive deep down into basketball on Wednesday. This is an interesting topic we need to focus on, I think, maybe. Also, another trade rumor, DeMarcus Cousins for the Sacramento Kings might be on the trade block, might be dealt here in the middle of December. We need to research some more on that, but we will try to bring more of that on Wednesday. Breaking news today, Matt.
Alshon Jeffrey for the Bears. Suspended 4 games for PED use.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw this coming.
Just when the team is down, they are going further into the ground.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the rest of the team.
Yeah.
You can't do that stuff in the NFL.
No. Other breaking news, there's been reports that Michigan's quarterback, Wilton Speight, not expected to play Saturday. There's also reports that he is maybe done for the year with a broken collarbone. That was SB Nation that reported that. It's a huge loss for him if they lose him. It could affect the college football playoff for them. Maybe, hopefully, their backup Q will come through big when they need him. And then, Matt, tomorrow, we'll look ahead to tomorrow's show. We'll have our final thoughts on Monday Night Football, give you our weekly NFL rankings, and then we'll talk about what NFL team is in most danger and who needs to pick it up if they're going to have a chance to compete in the playoffs.
We'll also talk about which NFL division is the best in both the AFC and the NFC. Spoiler alert, AFC West and NFC East.
Shoot us your comments.
Maybe.
If you have.
We'll see what everybody else thinks, but we'll talk about that later. We'll present our college football rankings right before the committee brings them out for this next week. And we'll look ahead to the State Farm Champions Classic tomorrow night with Kentucky, Michigan State, and Duke versus Kansas. And then we'll also bring you other hot topics and breaking news.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some news about the Tigers maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
It sounds like. So, talk about that. Make sure, guys, you follow us on Twitter, MHSM Sports Show. Look us up on our Facebook page. Love to have you guys. Thank you also for tuning in, and go subscribe to our YouTube page. It's MHSM Sports Show. Thank you from Smitty McQueen, and
Matty Highland.
see you tomorrow.